Hello, guys and gals, and this is part 11 of our reading of The Princess Bride by William Goldman. We will be going over the copyright information, and it should be on your screen right now. This is copyright 1973 by William Goldman. I believe, let's see, here it is. Copyright 1973 by William Goldman, all rights reserved, published in the United States by Ballantine Books, a division of Random House Incorporated, New York, and simultaneously in Canada by Ballantine Books of Canada, Limited, Toronto, Canada. And everything else here is cover art by Norman Green, basically. Anyways, in the last book, the Man in Black didn't kill Inigo, just knocked him out. And the sword fight raged on, which was rather intense and awesome. And now we are going to continue. He has beaten Inigo, the Turk said, not quite sure he wanted to believe it, but positive that the news was sad. He liked Inigo. Inigo was the only one who wouldn't laugh when Physique asked him to play rhymes. They were hurrying along a mountainous path on the way to the Gilder frontier. The path was narrow and strewn with rocks like cannonballs, so the Sicilian had a terrible time keeping up. Physique carried Buttercup lightly on his shoulders. She was still tied hand and foot. I didn't hear you say that again, the Sicilian called out, so Physique waited for the hunchback to catch up to him. See? Physique pointed down. Far below, at the very bottom of the mountain path, the man in black could be seen running. Inigo is beaten. Inconceivable, exploded the Sicilian. Physique never dared disagree with the hunchback. I'm so stupid, Physique nodded. Inigo has not lost to the man in black. He has defeated him. And to prove it, he has put on all the man in black's clothes, and mask and hood and boots, and gained 80 pounds. The Sicilian squinted down towards the running figure. Fool, he hurled at the Turk. After all these years, can't you tell Inigo when you see him? That isn't Inigo. I'll never learn, the Turk agreed. If there's ever a question about anything, you can always count on me to get it wrong. Inigo must have slipped or been tricked or otherwise unfairly beaten. That's the only conceivable explanation. Conceivable, believable, the giant thought. Only he didn't dare say it out loud. Not to the Sicilian. He might have whispered it to Inigo late at night, but that was before Inigo was dead. He also might have whispered heavily heavable, thievable, weavable, but that was as far as he got before the Sicilian started talking again. And that always meant he had to pay very strict attention. Nothing angered the hunchback as quickly as catching Physique thinking. Since he barely imagined someone like Physique capable of thought, he never asked what was on his mind, because he couldn't have cared less. If he had found out Physique was making rhymes, he would have laughed and then found new ways to make Physique suffer. Untie her feet, the Sicilian commanded. Physique put the princess down and ripped the ropes apart that bound her legs, and then rubbed her ankles so she could walk. The Sicilian grabbed her immediately and yanked her away. Catch up with us quickly, the Sicilian said. Instructions? Physique called out, almost panicked. He hated being left on his own like this. Finish him, the Sicilian was getting peeved. Succeed since Inigo failed us. But I can't fence. I don't know how to fence. Your way, the Sicilian could barely control himself now. Oh, yes, good. My way. Thank you. Vizzini, Physique said to the hunchback, then summoned all of his courage. I need a hint. You're always saying how you understand force, how force belongs to you. Use it. I don't care how. Wait for him behind there. He pointed at the sharp bend in the mountain path. And crush his head like an eggshell. He pointed to the cannonball-sized rocks. I could do that, yes, Physique nodded. He was marvelous at throwing heavy things. It just seems not very sportsmanlike, doesn't it? The Sicilian lost control. It was terrifying when he did it. With most people, they scream and holler and jump around. With Vizzini, it was different. He got very, very quiet, and his voice sounded like it came from a dead throat, and his eyes turned to fire. I tell you this, and I tell you once. Stop the man in black. Stop him for good and all, and for good and all. If you fail, there will be no excuse. I will find another giant. Please don't desert me, Physique said. Then do as you are told. He grabbed hold of Buttercup again and hobbled up the mountain path and out of sight. Physique glanced down toward the figure racing up the path towards him. Still a good distance away, time enough to practice, Physique picked up a rock the size of a cannonball and aimed it at a crack in the mountain 30 yards away. Swoosh! Dead center. He picked up a bigger rock and threw it at a shadow line twice as distant. Not quite. Swoosh. 2 inches to the right. Physique was reasonably satisfied. 2 inches off would still crush a head if you aimed for the center. He groped around, found a perfect rock for throwing. It just fit his hand, and he moved to the sharp turn in the path, backed off into deepest shadow, unseen, silent. He waited patiently with his killing rock, counting the seconds until the man in black would die. Okay, we are to Physique. Turkish women are famous for the size of their babies. The only happy newborn ever to weigh over 24 pounds upon entrance was the product of a southern Turkish union. Turkish hospital records list a total of 11 children who weighed over 20 pounds at birth, and 25 more who weighed between 15 and 20. Now, all of these 106 cherubs did what babies usually do at birth. They lost 3 or 4 ounces, and it took them the better part of a week before they got it totally back. More accurately, 105 of them lost weight just after they were born. Not Physique. His first afternoon he gained a pound. Since he weighed but 15, and since his mother gave birth 2 weeks earlier, the doctors weren't unduly concerned. It's because you came 2 weeks too soon, they explained to Physique's mother. That explains it. Actually, of course, it didn't explain anything, but whenever doctors are confused about something, which is really more frequently than any of us would do well to think about, they always snatch at something in the vicinity of the case and add. That explains it. If Physique's mother had come late, they would have said, well, you came late. That explains it. Or, well, it was raining during delivery. That adds weight. That added weight is simply moisture. That explains it. A healthy baby doubles its birth weight in about 6 months and triples it in a year. When Physique was a year old, he weighed 85 pounds, sorry. He wasn't fat, understand. He looked like a perfectly normal, strong 85-pound kid. Not all that normal, actually. He was pretty hairy for a 1-year-old. By the time he reached kindergarten, he was ready to shave. He was the size of a normal man by this time, and all the other kids made his life miserable. At first, naturally, they were scared to death. Even then, Physique looked fierce. But once they found out he was chicken, well, they weren't about to let an opportunity like that get away. Bully, bully, they taunted Physique during morning yogurt break. I'm not, Physique would say aloud. To himself, he would go, woolly, woolly. He would never dare to consider himself a poet because he wasn't anything like that. He just loved rhymes. Anything you said out loud, he rhymed it inside. Sometimes the rhymes made sense, sometimes they didn't. Physique never cared much about sense. All that mattered was the sound. Coward, toward, I'm not. Then fight, one of them would say, and would swing all he had and hit Physique in the stomach, confident that all Physique would do was go oof and stand there because he never hit back no matter what you did to him. Oof. Another swing, another. A good stiff punch to the kidney, maybe. Maybe a kick in the knee It would go on like that until Physique would burst into tears and run away. One day at home, Physique's father called, "Come here." Physique, as always, obeyed. "Dry your tears," his mother said. Two children have beaten him very badly just before he did he did what he could to stop crying. "Physique, this can't go on," his mother said. "They must stop picking on you, kicking on you." I don't mind so much, Physique. I don't mind so much, Physique said. "Well, you should mind," his father said. He was a carpenter with big hands. "Come on outside. I'm going to teach you how to fight." "Please, I don't want." "Obey your father." They trooped out to the backyard. "Make a fist," his father said. Physique did his best. His father looked at his mother and then at the heavens. "He can't even make a fist," his father said. "He's trying. He's only 6. Don't be so hard on him." Physique's father cared for his son greatly, and he tried to keep his voice soft so Physique wouldn't burst out crying, but it wasn't easy. "Honey," Physique's father said, "look, when you make a fist, you don't put your thumb inside your fingers. You keep your thumb outside your fingers, because if you keep your thumb inside your fingers and you hit someone, that what will happen is you'll break your thumb. And that isn't good, because the whole object when you hit someone is to hurt the other guy, not yourself." Blurt, "I don't want to hurt anyone, Daddy. I don't want you to hurt anyone. I don't want you to hurt anybody, Physique, but if you know how to take care of yourself, and they know you know, they won't bother you anymore." "Father, I don't mind so much." "Well, we do," his mother said. "They shouldn't pick on you, Physique, just because you need to shave." "Back to the fist," his father said. Have we learned how?" Physique made a fist again, this time with the thumb outside. "He's a natural learner," his mother said. She cared for him as greatly as his father did. "Now hit me," Physique's father said. "No, I don't want to do that." "Hit your father, Physique." Maybe he doesn't know how to hit," Physique's father said. "Maybe not," Physique's mother shook her head sadly. "Watch, honey," Physique's mother said. "See? Simple. You just make a fist like you already know, and then pull back your arm a little and aim for where you want to land it and let go. Show your father what a natural learner you are," Physique's mother said. Make a punch. Hit him a good one." Physique made a punch toward his father's arm. Physique's father stared at the heavens again in frustration. "He came close to your arm," Physique's mother said. Quickly, before her son's face could cloud. "That was very good for a start, Physique. Tell him what a good start he made," she said to her husband. "It was in the right general direction," Physique's father managed. "If only I'd been standing 1 yard further west, it would have been perfect." "I'm very tired," Physique said. "When you learn so much so fast, you get so tired. I do anyways. Please, may I be excused?" "Not yet," Physique's mother said. "Honey, please hit me. Really hit me. Try. You're a smart boy. Hit me a good one," Physique's father begged. "Tomorrow, Daddy, I promise." Tears began to form. "Crying's not going to work, Physique," his father exploded. "It's not going to work on me, and it's not going to work on your mother. You're going to do what I say, and what I say is you're going to hit me, and if it takes all night, we're going to stand here, and if it takes all week, we're going to stand here, and if it splat." That was before emergency wards, and that was too bad, at least for Physique's father, because there was no place to take him after Physique's punch landed, except his own bed, where he remained with his eyes shut for a day and a half, except for when the milkman came to fix his broken jaw. That was not before doctors, but in Turkey, they hadn't gotten around to claiming the bone business yet. Milkmen still were in charge of bones, the logic being that since milk was so good for bones, who would know more about broken bones than a milkman? When Physique's father was able to open his eyes as much as he wanted, they had a family talk, the three of them. "You're very strong, Physique," his father said. Actually, this was not strictly true. What his father meant was, "You're very strong, Physique." What came out was more like z z z z z z. Ever since the milkman had wired his jaws together, all he could manage was the letter Z. But he was a very expressive but he had a very expressive face, and his wife understood him perfectly. He said, "You're a very strong physique." "I thought I was," Physique answered. "Last year I hit a tree once. When I was very mad, I knocked it down. It was a small tree, but still, I figured that had to mean something. He said, "He's giving up being a carpenter, Physique." "Oh no," Physique said. You'll be all well soon, Daddy. The milkman practically promised me. He wants to give up being a carpenter, Physique. But what will he do?" Physique's mother answered this one herself. She and her husband had made up half the night, had been up half the night agreeing on the decision. "He's going to be your manager, Physique. Fighting is the national sport of Turkey. We're all going to be rich and famous. But Mommy, Daddy, I don't like fighting." Physique's father reached out and gently patted his son's knee. "Zip, he said. "It's going to be wonderful," his mother translated. Physique only burst into tears. They had their first professional match in the village of Sandiki. On a steaming hot Sunday, Physique's parents had a terrible time getting him into the ring. They were absolutely confident of victory because they had worked very hard. They had taught Physique for 3 solid years before they mutually agreed that he was ready. Physique's father handled tactics and ring strategy, while his mother was more in charge of diet and training, and they had never been happier. Physique had never been more miserable. He was scared and frightened and terrified, all rolled into one. No matter how they reassured him, he refused to enter the arena because he knew something. Even though outside he looked 20 and his mustache was already coming along nicely, inside he was still this 9-year-old who liked rhyming things. "No," he said, I won't, and you can't make me. After all we've slaved for these 3 years," his father said. His jaw was almost as good as new now. "He'll hurt me," Physique said. "Life is pain," his mother said. "Anybody that says differently is selling something. Please, I'm not ready. I forget the holds. I'm not graceful, and I fall down a lot. It's true." It was. Their only real fear was, were they rushing him? "When he gets going, though, the tough gets going," Physique's mother said. "Oh, when the going gets tough, then the tough gets going," Physique's mother said. "Get going, Physique," his father said. Physique stood his ground. "Listen, we're not going to threaten you," Physique's parents said, more or less together. We all care for each other too much to pull any of that stuff. If you don't want to fight, nobody's going to force you. We'll just leave you alone forever." Physique's picture of hell was being alone forever. He had told them that when he was 5. They marched into the arena, then to face the champion of Sandiki, who had been champion for 11 years since he was 24. He was very graceful and wide and stood 6 feet in height, only half a foot less than Physique. Physique didn't stand a chance. He was too clumsy. He kept falling down or getting his holds on backwards, so they weren't holds at all. The champion of Sandiki toyed with him. Physique kept getting thrown down or falling down or tumbling down or stumbling down. He always got up and tried again, but the champion of Sandiki was much too fast for him and too clever and much, much too experienced. The crowd laughed and ate baklava and enjoyed the whole spectacle until Physique got his arms around the champion of Sandiki. Baklava is really good, by the way. The crowd grew very quiet then. Physique lifted him up. No noise. Physique squeezed and squeezed. "That's enough now," Physique's father said. Physique laid the other man down. "Thank you," he said. "You are a wonderful fighter, and I was lucky." The ex-champion of Sandiki kind of grunted. "Raise your hands. You're the winner," his mother reminded him. Physique stood there in the middle of the ring with his hands raised. "Boo," the crowd said. "Animal, ape, gorilla, boo." They did not linger long in Sandiki. As a matter of fact, It wasn't very safe from then on to linger long anywhere. They fought the champion of Isper, boo, the champion of Simel, boo, they fought in Bulu, they fought in Zyle, boo. I don't care what anyone says, Vizik's mother told him one winter afternoon. You're my son, and you're wonderful. It was gray and dark, and they were hot-footing it out of Constantinople just as fast as they could because Vizik had just demolished their champion before most of the crowd was even seated. I'm not wonderful, Vizik said. They're right to insult me. I'm too big. Whenever I fight, I look like I'm picking on someone. Maybe, Vizik's father began a little hesitantly, maybe, Vizik, if you'd just possibly kind of sort of lose a few fights, they might not yell at us so much. The wife whirled on her husband. The boy's 11, and already you want him to throw fights. Nothing like that. No, don't get all excited, but maybe if he'd even look like he was suffering a little, they'd let up on us. I'm suffering, Vizik said. He was. Let it show a little more. I'll try, Daddy. That's a good boy. I can't help being strong. It's not my fault. I don't even exercise. I think it's time we head to Greece, Vizik's father said then. We've beaten everyone in Turkey who will fight us, and athletics began in Greece. No one appreciates talent like the Greeks. I just hate it when they go boo, Vizik said. He did. Now his private picture of hell was being left alone with everyone going boo at him forever. They'll love you in Greece, Vizik's mother said. They fought in Greece. Arg. Arg was Greek for boo. Bulgaria, Yugoslavia, Czechoslovakia, Romania, boo. They tried the Orient, the jiu-jitsu champions of Korea, the karate champions of Siam, the kung fu champions of all India. So, see note on ARG. So, in other words, it is the regional translation of boo. In Mongolia, his parents died. We've done everything we can for you, Vizik. Good luck, they said, and they were gone. It was a terrible thing, a plague that swept everything before it. Vizik would have died too, only naturally he never got sick. Alone, he continued on across the Gobi Desert, hitching rides sometimes with passing caravans, and it was there that he learned how to make them stop booing. Fight groups. It all began in a caravan on the Gobi when the caravan head said, I'll bet my camel driver can take you. There were only 3 of them, so Vizik said fine. He'd try, and he did, and he won naturally, and everyone seemed happy. Vizik was thrilled. He never fought just one person again if it was possible. For a while, he traveled from place to place battling gangs for local charities, but his business head was never much, and besides, doing things alone was even less appealing to him than that. For him now that he was into his late teens than it had been before. He joined a traveling circus. All the other performers grumbled at him because they said he was eating more than his share of the food, so he stayed pretty much to himself except when it came to his work. But then one night, when Vizik had just turned 20, he got the shock of his life. The booing was back again. He could not believe it. He had just squeezed half a dozen men into submission, cracked the heads of half a dozen more. What did they want from him? The truth was simply this. He had gotten too strong. He would never measure himself, but everyone whispered he must be over 7 feet tall, and he would never step on a scale, but people claimed he weighed 400. And not only that, he was quick. He was quick now. All the years of experience had made him almost inhuman. He knew all the tricks. He could counter all the holds. Animal, ape, gorilla. Boo! That night, alone in his tent, Vizik wept. He was a freak. Speak. He still loved rhymes. A 2-eyed cyclops, eye drops, like the tears that were dropping from his half-closed eyes. By the next morning, he had gotten control of himself, at least he still had his circus friends around him. That week, the circus fired him. The crowds were booing them now, too, and the fat lady threatened to walk out, and the midgets were fuming, and that was it for physique. This was in the middle of Greenland, and so everybody knew Greenland, then as now, was the loneliest place on Earth. In Greenland, there was one person for every 20 square miles of real estate. Probably the circus was pretty stupid taking a booking there, but that wasn't the point. The point was that Physique was alone in the loneliest place in the world, just sitting there on a rock watching the circus pull away. He was still sitting there the next day when Vizzini, the Sicilian, found him. Vizzini flattered him, promised to keep the booze away. Vizzini needed Physique, but not half as much as Physique needed Vizzini. As long as Vizzini was around, you couldn't be alone. Whatever Vizzini said, Physique did, and if that meant crushing the head of the man in black, so be it. We are at a stopping place right here. That is a good place to stop because that basically finishes off Physique's arc. And we're going to see how Physique and the man in black get along. So, anyways, we have been reading from William Goldman's The Princess Bride, a hot fairy tale. And if you like this content, then make sure you like and subscribe and ring the bell so you know when I upload. Also, if you want to support me in any way, or if you want to join the Discord server, then all the information will be in the description below. As always, thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day.